All right, please, come on. Give them a big hand of applause as I usher them into this. Keep clapping until I bring all of them in, please. Come on, this is great news. All right, so I have Walters here. I have Chanceline. I have Zebedee. So let's keep looking. Where are the rest of the people? Please, you have to be on camera for me to bring you in. If you know you're my guest for tonight, just turn on your camera. Let me figure where the faces are. There you go. That's Anne is there. Who else? Ageno. Good there. Thank you. Eddie. All right. There you go. Thank you. All right. So who else? Luis. There you go. And the last person is Ghislaine. Where is she? Ghislaine, are you here? All right. It looks like Ghislaine is not there. All right. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and start. All right. Let me bring them back here. Good. All right. So we have Chanceline, Walters, Zebedee, Eddie, Ageno, Luis, and probably Ghislaine will be going to join soon. I want to take this opportunity as a community and welcome you into these senior level positions and congratulate you most especially for your hard work. I mean, it's not an easy thing to be where you are right now. I mean, those of you that are still in the job market will testify that it's not an easy journey. It is not an easy journey. And some of them might be wondering right now, like, what was it actually? How did you get to there? So I'm just going to give you guys between 5 to 10 minutes, each of you, and then we'll go back again and just talk, about your experience. I have people ask you guys questions, and then we'll just go over it like that, So I'm not going to go in any order. I'm just going to choose people randomly, They always say ladies before gentlemen. But so let me start with you, Chanceline. Can you just tell us a little bit about how was your journey? What actually motivated you to start this journey? And how was the journey? How did you arrive where you are right now? And if you had a chance to do it again, will you do it again? Right? Please.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. Thank you everyone for joining in this morning. I'm just smiling because I feel like my journey is extraordinary. So earlier this year, I realized that I was pregnant. And then at the same time, I was in school finishing up with my biochemistry degree. So at the time I started trying to figure out what I can do after having my baby, because I believe so much in bonding with the baby at the early stage. So I was trying so hard. I went online, I was trying selling online, just trying to see what I can do after having my baby that will help me generate income. And then I thought like nothing was moving. So there was this evening, my brother came in here in my house and all of a sudden we're talking. I told him that at this point, I still don't know what I'm gonna be doing after I have my baby. So he was like, hey, you can do database administration. At the time, I didn't know what it was all about. So I went in and my husband was there at the time. So as soon as he said that, my husband became so interested in it, even more than I was. So we did the research and that was when we reached out to you. At the beginning of the class, it was kind of really exciting because I was getting to learn all this new terminology. Throughout my life, I've been doing science. So learning all the new terminology in IT was so exciting. But there came a time when I was writing my finals that it became very challenging because at that moment, I couldn't join the classes. I had to miss so many classes and all of that. But I'm so grateful that my husband was always there to push me and encourage me to go back and watch the videos and all of that. So when we went through the class, at some point I had my baby. I finally had my baby on July 31st. And then at the time we were doing the midterm, I believe, yeah, we were doing the midterm. So I kind of really didn't participate during the midterm project because like at that time I was at the peak of the pregnancy, and then later on the baby came in, was crying up and down and all of that. So it kind of became so challenging again at that time. But thanks to my subgroup members that were always there to reach out, and then my husband too, who was always very encouraging, I had to keep like moving. So when we started doing high availability, that was when I started thinking of, okay, I need to start getting my applications out there. But at the same time, I was very scared because I felt like I didn't know anything. So my husband again still encouraged me. And I reached out to a couple of my subgroup members. Unfortunately enough, one of them had a sample resume from someone in batch 11 who just had a job. So when I reached out to her, she sent me the resume. So I just went to the resume, removed the person's name, and then put my own name. Okay, I went to Lincoln, and then I started applying. Like I was just clicking and clicking, submitting, whether it's quick apply or whatsoever. I was just submitting. Then I submitted. I was waiting to hear back. I never heard anything. At that moment, I knew that there was something right. And then that was the time now that I reached out to you, Dr. Dennis. I sent the resume. You told me to like remove a couple of things I did. And then you said, and now I can go ahead. So even before the time you gave me the go ahead, I was already like out there. So I went back now and I was still doing it wrong because I didn't know how to apply. So there was this Saturday that we had a class, and it was Mr. Milton teaching. So after the class, he was just chatting with the students. I was just like, hey, Mr. Milton, can you just do a sample application? Let me see how it looks. I believe that he never knew like where I was, like why I asked that question. Because still deep down me, since I wasn't getting back anything, I knew that there was something I wasn't doing right. So the moment he went on Indeed, and then he did an application, he said like, always apply on the company's website. That was when I got it. So I started applying, I applied, and then I was getting I had a couple of phone interviews, but I never heard back. I had one interview with an insurance company, the one we went over the job description together. Then that one, there was another one with the University of Pennsylvania. That one, I went over the job description with Mr. Milton. Still, it wasn't good, yeah. So the fortunate thing is that this job I finally got, I never applied for it. So after you gave me the go ahead, I went on Indeed and I made my resume public. So there's this recruiter that saw the resume, reached out to me. He first of all called me. There was one morning he called me. It was like, hey, I saw your resume on Indeed, blah, blah, blah. I'm interested. If you're interested, you can send me the Word format of the resume. The whole day, I never bothered to send it. So around 7 p.m. again, that same day, he called me. He was like, hey, you told me you were going to send me your resume in an hour. What happened? I just told him that, okay, he was asking for the resume in Word format and I don't know how to convert it to Word. He was like, okay, just send it in PDF. That was when I sent out the resume now. And then I waited for about 2 weeks. I never heard back. I reached out to him again. I was like, hey, you took my resume. I've been waiting to hear back from you. What's going on? He's like, he submitted the resume. He's also still waiting. There's nothing he can do at his end. And then one morning I got up because that, like during that season, like the first thing I do in the morning, one of the first things I did was to go to my emails just to check whether there's any email that I need to respond to. So there's this morning I got up and then I saw an email. They were like, hey, are you available for an interview tomorrow between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.? I didn't even hesitate. I just said yes. And then I asked the lady that sent me the email, I'm like, which job is this? I've been applying to so many jobs and I just want to know which one this is. Since I never applied for the job, I did not have it in my job list. So the lady was like, sorry, I don't know. I know it's a DBA position. And then she gave me the job ID. So now I copied the job ID, went to Google, and then I Googled it. I realized that it was the job from the recruiter. So I reached out to Mr. Milton again. We made an appointment. We went through the job description. And that morning, remember I called you, I think it was about 6:30 a.m.
Yes,
I called
remember that
you.
early morning call.
Yes. we had gone through the job description, but yet I still felt, I felt like there was still something I needed to know, because SSRS and SSIS was like the second point on the job description. So I still felt, after I had gone online, I read, I still felt like, no, I needed to hear from Dr. Denny, get something from him I can save on SSRS and SSIS. So when I called you that morning, okay, I realized that we're still feeling sleepy. So, and that night I didn't really sleep. I went to bed, I think I went to bed, I think it was about midnight. Before 4 a.m. I was up again, just looking at things, looking. So finally we had the interview, and
wow, what a great story.
It finally brought me to where I am now. And the good thing is that it was just one interview, because after the interview, I was like, okay, what next? Yeah, what next at this point? They're like, okay, the person that will be selected, that will be it. So I was like, so do you mean this is like the only interview for this position? They were like, yeah, unless they get two candidates that are really, really close. That's when they were going to schedule another interview. So a few days later, I think it was less than 3 days later, I heard back. The recruiter reached out. He was like, hey, don't tell anybody yet. I learned that you did so well in the interview, and let's just hope so. I believe that there's going to be good news. So I just became so excited. I waited, and then later on again, he reached out, and that was it. I got the job.
That long-awaited call that everybody so dearly waits for, and looking at a job. So when you looked at the job offer, what was your feeling when you got the offer letter and it became real? Like everything from classroom to interviews, sometimes just feel like some kind of a dream. But when you actually saw that offer letter in your hand, how did you feel?
Like I cannot even explain the way I felt, because it was everything. Like that job, it was 100% remote. The pay was really good. And then just the fact that it was remote, and I still get to see my baby each time, every minute he wakes up and all of that. Like I was just tremendously happy, because that's all I wanted at the beginning of this course. Like that was the main reason why I joined the class. So that after having my baby, I will still be able to work and bond with the baby. Yes. So getting that offer, knowing that it was remote, like in fact, I was just terribly happy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to you, Shazlin. Very great story there. But let me hear what other people's stories are. I'm going to mix a little bit. I can't give room for all the ladies to talk first. So let me go to Ageno. Ageno, you happen to be the first in your batch to get a job. You got a job at a moment nobody even thought that someone was applying for work. What prompted you to start testing the waters? And how dare, let me say how dare were you, but you had a lot of courage to go out there, barely 5.5 months in your training, and you were already applying, and then you got the job. And you've been working now for, 1 month or two. How was it for you? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, Doc, thanks very much for everything. So before I talk about myself, I just want to say thank you to the whole Cavitech team, from doctor to all my instructors, Mr. Beltus, Gramilo, Madam Adiger, Mr. Cyprian, my team. You guys were wonderful. So I just want to thank you all very, very much. We work as a family. That's why I'm here today. So a little bit about my story. So my story goes back, I would say a little bit back 2018, when I left the Army and I became a civilian. So I was just trying to figure out what to do. I know there was IT, but I didn't really know much about IT. But I have friends that have been in the IT industry. They kept telling me that, hey, do this IT thing, I know you can do it. But, I guess back then I was a Thomas, you always have one of those people that Thomases that you want to see before you believe.
Yes.
And then, so it was back in 2020, if I'm not wrong, that I met you, doctor, for the first time. I think we went for a birthday. I met you at a birthday party. Yes. It was with Florence birthday party. Correct. And I think Florence had just had a job, and I personally know her. And she was like, oh, I'm making this much and I'm doing this. I'm like, wow, I guess I was really a Thomas. So I guess after that session, after that discussion, I joined the class, right? I was able to join with my wife. We joined together, and so I'm one of those people that I think I like to learn a lot. I like to get information from other sources. I like to just know and push myself so I'll know things better, right? And so that's just part of something about me that I always like to do. So as we were in Cavitech learning, I always I told my group that, hey, if there's any place that, any source of internet, Google, YouTube, that you can get information from, that you can be one step ahead, you can always use that, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit you. So I think 6 months, even before we started virtualization, if I'm not wrong, I already taught my group, or we were already stepping that virtualization. Not because I don't think that because I know too much, it's just because that I always try to learn things and just go ahead and do things. So to answer your question, Doc, given the fact that I had some people around me, like Florence, the husband, that had done IT already, that were motivated me, I think 5 months into the program, I reached out to her. I was like, hey, please just let me see your resume and let me see how this is done. So to be honest with you, about 5 months into the program, I had already started applying. And my goal for applying for jobs at that point was not even to get a job. I wanted to understand how the interview process goes, right? I wanted just to understand how things, because if I apply, not necessarily to get a job, so that if I don't get it this time, but next time I'll learn from the mistakes that I made, so that it makes myself better. And my advice to anybody, like for my story, I think I applied for over 200 jobs, to be honest with everybody, before I got the job. So if there's anybody in this group that has been applying and they're not getting the calls, don't be frustrated, because sometimes it takes time. You get that rejection letters, like many, you know, I mean, we move on with somebody else, you are not qualified. But when you let that break your spirit, then you are going to lose the battle. So you just have to keep fighting, because my experience, as Chanceline said, when you go to an interview and when the recruiter likes you, you can tell. And when something is yours, you will get it. Because just as from my experience, when I applied for this job, as a matter of fact, the recruiter contacted me too. He was like, hey, I saw your resume. I would like you to apply. And I sent the resume to the recruiter. He was very helpful, I'll be honest with you. He was like, okay, let me send it in a PDF form. Oh no, in a Words form. I sent it a Words form. He looked at the resume. He told me that, hey, can I take, a recruiter told me that, can I take this out, add this to it? I was like, yeah, that's fine. So he sent it, and there was a hurricane coming in. So within 2 weeks, during the hurricane in Florida, we didn't hear back. Then we heard back from the company. They were like, okay, we had an interview with you. So after the interview, the recruiter called me. He was like, how did the interview go? I was like, I think the interview went well. So he called the company immediately. Then I guess he had some very good feedback. So he called me back immediately. He was like, man, they really, really like you. I think they're going to make you an offer. I was like, oh, I mean, I screamed out of my, like, I started screaming, like, for real. He was like, yes, it's not official, but the feedback I'm getting from them, like, they really, really like you and how you presented yourself, how you carry yourself and everything. And I think the next day, the interview was on Thursday. The next day, I was supposed to get an offer letter. For some reason, I didn't get it. Then the recruiter contacted me, asked me if I had it. I was like, no. Then he contacted the company, and on Monday, I had that offer letter saying that, you know, this is the offer letter. Do you accept the offer and stuff like that? Wow. And I was very excited. I was very, very pleased. You know, so if anything, encouragement or from my story that I want to tell anybody, or anybody want to take something, but I'm saying it's like, no, one, please don't ever give up, right? Even if you hit the roadblocks. And two, sometimes it's always good to have a group or do your own research sometimes just to get extra knowledge, it can help you too. So thank you all.
If you had a chance to do it again, will you do it?
Like 1 million times. If I had a chance, I'll do it earlier.
Okay.
I even do
All
it
right.
way
That's
earlier.
even a better way to answer that question. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ageno. I'm so happy. I didn't even know that you were a veteran, man. So thank you so much. This is really, really good. Happy to hear. I'll be coming back to you again one more time. But
Okay.
let me move on to Anne. And I'm so happy from classroom to interview training to everything that I know you've always shown a lot of seriousness. And of course, we're not surprised that you have a job, that you got the job way earlier than everyone even anticipated that you could be applying. Now, tell us a little bit about your own story. How did you get there, and how did you push through the end?
Wow. So my story is also quite different. I didn't even know I was doing SQL until those that are in batch B12 3 or B12 1, sorry. This day Mr. Cyprian came in and he told us, so what is SQL? And he asked us so many questions, and I was like, oh, this is SQL actually. Because when I started, I just wanted something. I knew I wanted something. I just wanted something to learn. And all I knew, I don't even remember how I came across Tech, but I knew I wanted to do something. And I called you. You remember that call? I remember it was on 7th March. And I called you, and all you said, and just make sure you never miss a class. And that was a life-changing moment, and I joined the classes. So it was basic training. I barely knew anything. All I did with my computer was YouTube, or maybe remember those that used discs, you put your disc and you watch a movie. So that's all I used to do back then, and Google. So I never cared for a laptop. So basic training with Grand Milo and Mr. Maxim, and I was enjoying because I was getting something to do. It was fun. And then SQL started, and I didn't even realize I was doing SQL. But all I know is the group that I got into, Ageno was my team leader. We used to meet. Yes, he was my team leader.
What is your team leader?
He's a good pilot. He landed us safely.
All right.
Yes. So all I remember is we used to stay in classes up until 2 a.m. If you had a problem, Ageno will not go to sleep. Thank you to his wife, too, Agnes. So we would stay in classes up until 3 a.m., 2 a.m. I remember like this time we started virtualization, and on 4th of July, I didn't have any place to go, and I decided to delete my VMs, everything we had done in class. And I couldn't get back. I couldn't put back everything together, and the classes were starting on Wednesday, and I tried everything the whole weekend. And on Tuesday, Ageno came in and helped me until 4 a.m. He put me back to where we were supposed to be in class. So it's not 1 month's effort, it's been a team effort. And also I remember when we finished classes, you called me and you asked me, Anne, are you applying? And I told you, I don't even have a resume. And you told me to reach out to Mr. Grand Milo. And Grand Milo the same night told me, can you call me tomorrow? And I was up at 4 a.m. just waiting for him to wake up. And around 6 a.m. I told him, hey, Grand Milo, if you get a minute, can you call me? And he called me and he got me a resume within, I don't know, and I started applying. So for me, my journey, it's been, okay, so for the interview, we started meeting with a smaller group, and I got a call. I don't remember applying for this job. I got a call and they're asking me, hey, are you in San Antonio? And I said, yes. Are you willing to work in office? And I told them, yeah. And I called you, I told you, and I told them, so are you willing to interview? And I told them, okay, but I don't even know the job. So if you have to interview me, you have to send me the job description. And when they sent me the job description, I sent it to you on email. And immediately they told me if I can go download Microsoft Teams, and we met in 2 hours. I think they just wanted to confirm my face or something, because they just told me, I wanted to see you. Okay, so I'll be setting up an interview for you, and this is what the company does and all. And when they set up an interview, it was on Monday because there was open my offer letter, and we went to Zoom, and you went through the job description with me for about 2.5 hours. And you told me your interview is at 1 a.m. So after the interview, can you please open my offer letter? And he trained me for 2.5 hours in the morning. And guess what? When I started the interview at 1 a.m., it barely took 15 minutes. So then I opened my offer letter, and I texted Doc. I don't know what just happened. I don't know what just happened. I don't know how the interview went, or I just don't understand it. It was too fast. Yeah. And you just told me, okay, we keep applying. And guess what? After 1 week, they told me, hey, I want you to meet the team. So that is what happened for me. And I believe it's that preparation you gave me that morning that gave me the confidence. So the first few questions they asked me, they already knew what, and they got what they wanted. But all I'll tell you, other than that interview, I have had so many other interviews, and some have been intense, and some I didn't even know some part of the technicals, but at least I went. There's this one interview, it was too technical for me, and they told me, you know what? When the recruiter called me with the bad news, he told me, you know what? The team felt you were the best interviewee because they had a good time. Socially, you're the best. So at least, even if I failed technically, there's that part of me that at least I won on that side. They said of all the interviews, I was the best socially. So at least make sure you win, and once you do more interviews, you get more confidence. And
so very great. And let me ask you this question. Do you think that the training at Kiawitech adequately prepared you for the job market, and why?
Yes, sir. When I went to the office, I was like, I just need to go there, just make sure. I just want to make sure that everything they tell me, everything is the same. And guess what? Everything is the same. Okay. Everything is the same. If I am comfortable at my job. Because everything that I studied is what I found at my workplace.
So what was the best thing about your training at Kiawitech? Can you tell us at least what was the best thing about your training at Kiawitech?
The best thing, I think, okay, so the best thing is the setup you have. Because I think you have, not actually, I think, you have a plan that puts you, I mean, you have put the program together in such a way that you get to flow from one stage to another. From basic training, you put people in groups, then we have these classes. I mean, everything is just put together, and sometimes, honestly, I don't know myself. I feel the transformation has been too much. I don't understand myself. Anyone who didn't know me 5-6 months now, I don't think they'll catch up. Sorry. But it's right. That's the whole thing. It's the process. You've packaged this program so good in such a way that you don't even realize the transformation, but it happens so fast. And thank you. That's all I can say. That's the best thing.
Very good, Anne. I remember you telling me a story about some of your friends that when you told them that you were doing this, they didn't jump in.
Oh, yes.
And how is their reactions now? Have you told them already?
Actually, I got my job on 23rd. The job offer came in on 23rd, and 24th was Thanksgiving. And now I had the guts to go visit my community, my Kenyan community. And I just couldn't help it. I kept telling them, guys, you know what? There's this program. I don't know what you guys are doing. You need to be in there. And you know me, when I'm given a chance, I can talk. And everyone was just taking my number, and they didn't believe it. Now everyone privately called me, hey, Anne, is this thing you were saying on Thanksgiving? So is it true? I'm like, yeah, it's true. It's real. This is me. And I was just telling them just a little bit of, most of them know a bit, so it helps to know. Yeah.
No, it helps. I mean, it helps to see somebody who has gone through the training who's telling you that it's real. That
For
just a random
Thomas
person who tells you do this training, right?
Yes.
So that's why I will always say, don't underestimate the power of your own personal network, because your friends know you, they don't know me. If you just send them to me, they might believe that this is just scam. But
Mm-hmm.
when your life changes and you're telling them, and they know you, who you were before, and who you
Yeah.
are right now,
Yeah.
think in and believe. Thank you so much for that. And now let me
Yes.
move on to Walter, one of the most persevering trainee I've come across. Did everything possible to get that job. The job was not coming, but he didn't give up. You will see him batch in after batch in after batch. And a lot of people would have already given up, and he didn't. Others, what kept you going, sir? First of all, congratulations. I think you are muted. No, you are still muted. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, what kept me going? I think it's because Kiawitech is like a community. There's this family spirit about Kiawitech. I think that was my driving force. If not, yeah, definitely I would have given up a long time ago.
So tell me, what was your greatest challenge going through this training? And what are the things that you personally believe took you from where you were struggling to get the job to where you are today?
I think I didn't really prepare. I didn't really prepare myself. I didn't set up myself for the success. I just like Ageno said, I had a lot of doubt, disbelief. You know, I was the Thomas, just like he said. So I didn't set up myself. I didn't prepare myself. I took everything lightly. I was thinking it was gonna be like a pilot course that you can catch up some point, and I was thinking I'm a smart guy and I can just do it like that, overnight. So I was thinking I will have my normal life, and grab like the high points and then just power my way through. Yeah, so yeah, I made every possible mistake you can think of, going into this program. Every possible mistake at every level, like from the start to the finish, I made mistakes at every level.
Do you want to tell us a few of those mistakes so that some of those people that are going through the training right now don't have to do it? You must not say, oh, but just one or two.
Okay, yeah. So before getting into the program, I used to be a trucker. So I took my entire course while in my truck cabin, driving my truck, moving from state to state. So I'll be taking a class. I'll be driving from New Jersey going to California and have my headset on, and I'm in class. And the instructor will like, turn on your camera. I'll turn on my camera for 1 minute and say, hey, see, I'm driving. Then I'll switch it back off. So I was in batch 10. A lot of students in batch 10 do not really know because my video was always off, but yeah, so I didn't really set up myself for that success, like if you look at the students that got jobs really early, there's something common with them. There's some characteristics that are common, like they're prepared before class, their videos are on, they're asking questions, they're in many groups, like they're doing all those things. But yeah, someone like me, I was always behind. I couldn't prepare before classes. I was always trying to catch up, and I'll be driving. Sometimes you'll be in the middle of the desert and you get cut off. There'll be no connection. I'll be cut off for like 5 minutes. Time you get back, you don't know what's going on. So yeah, so the times that I was really on video is when I was at home. When I was at home, I'll turn on my video, try to catch up with class. But then there's like all these things that I have to catch up, and you could never really catch up because there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of the program is really fast. It's fast paced, and there's a lot of things going on. Yes. Madame Foster used to say, "We move," and that's how the program is. You just move, Yeah.
Thank you, Walter. I mean, I know very well, like I always tell you guys, like when you leave SQL for 1 day, you need 1 week to catch up. If you leave it for 1 month, you need 3 months to catch up because it's fast paced. A video recorded in 3 hours, you will not spend less than 5 hours to watch that video. Because you keep stopping, do it yourself, Meanwhile, if you were in class, we just pick it up, ask your question. By the time the class is over, you're on the same page with the rest of the class. But I'm so happy that despite all the challenges that you have, this just shows that there is no reason why you should not do it, make it. You just need to figure out how to prioritize this training when you are there and learn from other people, collaborate. And I'm so happy that despite all that, we are talking about batch 10, you are testifying with people from batch 12. Some people would have already said, you know what, let's just give up with this thing. It's not going to work, but you never did so. You know, why? Why did you give up?
Yeah, I actually I saw the potential. I saw the possibilities of getting the job just like others, but just because I was being stupid thinking I was smart, that I'll keep my job, and then so I had to realize at one point, I'm like, wait, what am I doing differently from these people? And then I sat down, I look at what these people are doing. A lot of them, they move from their full-time jobs to a part-time job. And from the part-time job, they quit. Like during the interview phase, like a lot of those people that get their jobs first, like they have a lot of similar characteristics. So I looked at myself and compared myself, like, nah, see, I cannot, I'm not smart than these guys, I cannot, I gotta take the route. There's no shortcuts in this thing. I had to make up that decision. And I also realized that, how they say in SQL Server, you have to give 80% to your memory. I realized that actually you have to give 80% of your time to SQL Server.
I like that one. I love that.
I realized that, and I quit my job.
Okay. And
yeah, so I quit my job. Yes, I quit my job. I started looking at those guys that were getting job really early. I'm like, this is what they did. This is what they did. This is what I started doing that. Even though I was a little late, but I had to go through that journey. I started making friends. I started group surfing. I'm going to this group, going to this group, going to this group. I was actually, I think the batch 11 guys know me more because I was with them. I think that they would think I'm like in their batch.
Wow.
I started going to group, talking to people, making friends, doing everything we're supposed to be doing that I was not doing.
Yes.
Even though, it was a little late, but and then with the support of the community, that's how I was able to make it.
So better late than never, right? Better late than never. And when that offer letter came, tell us, were you satisfied? Was it worth the time?
When the offer letter came, actually, I was a little nervous. I was very nervous because at the interview stage, I actually canceled a couple of interviews also. Like I said, I made mistakes at every step through this journey.
Yeah.
At the interview stage, I got so nervous. I got so scared. I was canceling interviews. I would be taking interviews here. My sister would be in the background laughing because I'll be like, like I will lost words. Like my head will be blank. Like simple questions. So I had no confidence. I missed out during my batch. I traveled home at the end of the program. I didn't do the open my offer letter, which is a very valuable part in this training. That's where you build that confidence. That's when and that's something that I've been able to learn through this journey. I didn't have that confidence, talking. I didn't really, like to throw myself out there and just talk, So I've learned a lot through this journey. So my sister was making fun of me even today. She'll be like, I'm a. So so I canceled a few interviews, and one of the interviews, they were actually happy with me. I started building up that confidence, and one of the interviews, they were happy with me. They were pleased. The recruiter called me back and said, if they give you the offer, are you going to take it? I'm like, sure. I thought I was going to get it. So I stopped applying. And that call never came.
No, yes.
And I'm like, they told us that at school. Don't stop applying. Like, why did I stop applying? So I had to get back in after like 2 weeks. I started applying again. And, you know, when you break up, you know, when you give that little gap, it's like you don't get nothing, you don't get no calls for a while. So that threw me off a little bit. But so when this offer letter came, I was still in doubt. I was like, okay, you know, take it easy. You never know. I couldn't really celebrate it. I was scared. I was like, you know, you can celebrate and something else happens, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Until I signed it and I started working, and I called Serge. I've been working with Serge. Serge has been helping me. Mr. Twente.
Yes. Okay.
I'm like, hey, listen, I signed this thing and I'm starting work on Monday. He's like excited for me and happy. I'm like, I don't know yet. Until I've been working for like over 2 months right now.
Nice.
I'm so grateful.
I mean, I will say, from your nature of your job, going from state to state, and right now working, having a stable job, you have a stable plan, you can plan well. I think that if I was in your shoe, I would be satisfied. Will you say you are satisfied? Oh,
I'm very happy. I will tell everybody I know about this program, and my sister is doing nursing. I'm trying to tell her to, you know, get into this, because I work from home. I have 2 daughters. They're happy, you know. Nice. I see them every day. Yeah, it's a life-changing opportunity. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Kiawi Tech, the instructors, the community, my team. A lot of people I can, you know, if I start naming names right here, we'll sleep here. but it's a blessing. I think that the power, the driving force of Kiawi Tech is the community approach, just like Ann said. That's a powerful thing that you can't beat that.
Thank you so much, Walter. There's one thing that I caught from your conversation. You saying you started making friends. You started talking to people. You started going group to group and talking to them, which is something that I try to encourage everybody here. Like, this is a community. You can't come in here, even if you are the smartest person, you still need someone. Even if that person is just there to go over the job description with you and say, and listen to you talk and criticize you, it is still important. So don't isolate yourself. Make friends, reach out and talk to other people, because that's the best way for you to learn in this community. Thank you so much, sir. Very powerful. I'll be coming back to you soon. But let me move on. I'll move on to Louise, also a very powerful trainee, you know, from her interviews, offer letter to mock interview. Louise will always say, oh, my French, I've done it. I'm like, French, you are not in a language class here, right? You are here to demonstrate your technical skills, and that has nothing to do with whether French, English is your first language or not. But you prove everyone wrong. Here you are today, having worked for a few months and happily earning that DBA salary. How are you? How was your own story? Tell us a little bit about you, Louise.
Thank you so much, Doug. And thank you also to the Kiawi Tech community, all the instructor, my day one mentor at Kiawi Tech that I have met. That was Graham Milo, and also everybody that have contributed, that have contributed to this journey. You know, it has been a quiet, challenging journey. I'm not gonna lie, despite also my language. I'm fluent now. My barrier language that was French, you know, I used to be like, hey, this is gonna be in English also, but also, what really brought me into IT is starting to back in 2018, you know, when I have a friend, I was doing customer service, and I have a friend that actually, she's from Ethiopia. She told me about SQL. When we did the training, it was in person, and it was just for 2 months. And don't ask me what I have learned into that program. I don't know what happened throughout the program. I end up the class, I applied, I took only 1 interview phone call, and I disappeared. And I said, this is not for me. I'm not gonna do this. And I turned back and I went and do a training in neurodiagnostic, working in the hospital, doing EEG on people, you know. And you know, there is one person, you know, in life, when you keep being around people like you say, Doc, you will have encouraged, especially when you have people that will actually lift you up. Mama Nelly and Madam Foster are the two people that actually brought me back to the Kiawitech community, because I used to look at their status and say, hey, what is this Kiawitech? When I approached them, they was like, okay, this is what and I was like, hey, I did this training, I just don't know what it has been going on. So I was like, okay, let me go back into the program. So what triggered me was when Mama Nelly get a job. So I was like, okay, then if she get a job, then I actually have to go back, because she called me and she said, Louise, you guys try to discourage me by not getting a job. I get a job, so you guys need to go back and go get a job. So I was like, okay, this is something I really need to go back and do. So back then I was pregnant with my twins. So when she called me and I was like, I'm gonna do the training, she said, you cannot keep up with the work. It's very intense. Go ahead and give birth, and then you can come back. So when I came back, I have my twins in my hand, and it was very challenging. Yes, I have to, the class is at 8 p.m. I had to manage and put the babies in bed at that moment and run in class. Hopefully the 2 hours that they're sleeping before they wake up, I can go feed them. So, but yet I will make sure that I will be in camera the first 2 hours. The last hours that they're awake, I'm going to be off camera because I cannot keep up with the class. All and right. Then, yes, this is part of the challenge that I actually face. But luckily, 4 months later, my mom came in, and that's when I actually decided to say, hey, I'm going to give up everything. I was already back from my maternity leave. I was working and I was actually taking class. One thing that I was doing is that I will make sure, even I'm in class, I have the instructors that actually, and anyway, all the classes that was going on in Kiawitech, I was logging. And, I need to have that knowledge, I'm that kind of person that repetition is my thing. I have to see things multiple times to grab it. So I have to be connected every time. Cyprian class was the one that I will not miss. If I'm at work, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I will put my earphone, I will listen, I will join Cyprian class, the class in Cameroon. I say, I cannot miss no class from Cyprian. So that was one thing. Madam Foster was the other class. I say, I'm not missing no class that is actually happening with her. So I was, and at some point, I didn't know what class I was because I was going left and right, connecting here, connecting there, trying to grab that knowledge. But yes, the life change actually came after when we were doing the my offer letter. So that's where I kind of putting 1 and 2 together, so all the knowledge, despite the fact that I have friends that was actually helping me through the program, like Mr. Renee right here, Judy, we were connected sometimes, Doctor, you used to join sometime at midnight, see us sitting on this internet or on the Zoom meeting, trying to learn and catch up what's happening in class. So when we actually connect, I opened my offer letter. That's when one of my friend Odai connected me to Mr. Serge. Mr. Serge has been, I would say, the most wonderful person that I had actually at Kiawitech. So when I was let
me actually clap for Serge. Let's actually give a hand of applause for him. Thank you so much, Serge. Thank you so much.
Yes. So Mr. Serge actually took on him to help the whole community. It doesn't matter if you are his mentee, whatever you contact him, he's like, okay, we're gonna study. And he will make time every weekend, 2 days in the weekend, to work with his everybody that actually decided to work with him. But what triggered me is that when I start asking questions to Serge, he was like, it looks like you really need to know the environment. You really need to come and see what is going on into the environment. So I am in Dallas. I travel 1 weekend. I say, let me go to Houston to actually know what is going on. So I shadowed Mr. Serge like 2 or 3 days. We went over what is going on into the environment. And this particular job that I had was Mr. Kola who actually sent me the job. He sent me the job. He said, this job that this recruiter have been calling me, go ahead and apply. We were in a Zoom meeting with Nadel and Kola one day, we were studying. And then he said, go ahead and apply. They're gonna take you. I say, I don't know what you are talking about. And I never applied. So one day when Doris had a job and she came and testified, I was the leader of the team, but at some point I started feeling down and I was like, this is not, and I was talking to Vince and Titus. I was like, this is not for me. I have tried. This is the second time I'm trying and this is not happening. I think it's time for me to move on to what I used to do. And they keep pushing me and advise me, it's gonna come. Keep trying and apply every day, you get this. But for this particular, when Doris came and testified, you'd always underestimate yourself until you hear what other people are saying about you, When she came to the testimony and then she actually mentioned how I actually motivate me, and then she was like, okay, you can do this. And I came back, I'm like, people are believing on me more than myself, I'm sitting here, I'm doubting myself, I'm saying I cannot make this, and people actually know that I'm gonna make it. And I'm like, okay, let me go back. And I remember that Kola have sent me this job, I never applied. So I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and apply for that job to figure out what is going on. And the surprise thing is that after 1 hour applying, I get the call. So now I receive a call from the recruiter, say, hey, can we schedule an interview? So I'm like, okay, now it's too quick for me. I never get this opportunity. Usually it's after like a week and things like that. So, I was in a group with very powerful people also that are named Judith and also Dieudonné and Venadin, others. What I did is that, I said, these are my team members. I'm not going to go. I said, this is too fast. I'm going to call them so we can sit together and see what's going on with this job. So I sent the job. I say, anybody want to go ahead and apply? This lady is actually accelerating me to come for the interview. I don't know what she wants. You guys need to go and apply for the job. All right. So Judy went ahead and applied. So I took the first interview. When I brought the question back to them, I said, okay, you guys need to stay. They went and took the first interview. So while I was in Houston, they scheduled my second interview with them, but with Judith and others, they scheduled the second interview before me. So they brought the questions for the second interview. So when I took the second interview and they decided to move on to the third interview, I was like, okay, this is not, and one thing with me is that every time that I will have an interview, I will record it and I will send to at least 2 to 3 of the mentor that I have been talking to. If I send it, I want to send it to Malone. That was my assigned mentor. I'm going to send it to Malone, Belchus, also Grand Milo, Serge. I will send it out there. My team members, I will send my recording to them. I'm like, hey, I want feedback. I want to know what I'm doing wrong here. I want to know if I'm actually answering properly. So and I was actually very trying to fix it. If Serge, and one thing also with Serge is that he will not go to sleep. If I send him a recording, he will not go to sleep without talking to me about that interview. So even if at midnight, he'll call me like, hey, Lori, are you still awake? I need to talk to you about this interview. So this particular job, the first interview, I didn't send it to him because Mr. Rene told me, he's like, Mr. Serge is going to be upset at you. You didn't answer right the question. So don't send him that interview. So I was like, okay. So when they decided to move on to the last round, I was like, okay, I called Mr. Serge. I said, this particular job, and he was like, why you didn't send me the recording? I said, I was so scared that I'm going to disappoint you. I don't know what is going on exactly. So he was like, okay, let's prepare for this. When we finished preparing, I went and took the last interview. Same scenario. I said, no, I'm not. I did wrong. And the funny thing is that they literally told me at the end of the interview, this is the question, because the first and second interview already, at the end of the interview, they will ask you, what question do you have? I already exhausted my bank of a question that I will ask for interview. I just didn't know what to ask anymore for the last interview. So my husband told me, ask the question about what have I done, or what have I said to the interview throughout this process that I can actually stop me from getting the job, which I wasn't prepared for the answer. So when I asked the question, the answer wasn't really nice. And for that one, I knew that I didn't get a job. So the answer was like, you know, because they asked me a question about PowerShell. I have PowerShell on my resume and I have no background. I know nothing about PowerShell. So when they say, what kind of script do you know about PowerShell? I couldn't answer. So the feedback for my question, what have I done wrong, was don't put things in your resume that actually you cannot defend. And also he told me, in your next interviews, make sure that you fix your resume. So I was done. I said, you know, this is not gonna be, I was like, okay, then I'm not getting this job. The funny thing is that the next day, the recruiter called me and then she was like, what do you think that, how the interview went? I was like, very confident. I said, no, the interview went well, you know, I did good. It just one or two things that I mistake that I did, but I think I did very well. And then she was like, yes, congratulations. The team decided to move with you. I was like, whoa.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you know, that's why that come back to what you usually say, Doc. It's not the way that you answer the question. Interview can go very wrong, but you know, you still get a job. So, and then comes the part of the background check. I was so panicking, you know, doctor has been there helping me to overcome all this shit. And every time that I is going wrong, I would just send him the message, this is not for me, doc, I cannot do this. And then he'll be like, Luis, you cannot do this. Luis, you cannot do this. So he has been there, like, very pushing. And like I say, I have so many people that if I start calling names here, Judith, I will not thank you enough for all the support that you have been there from day one from this job and from until now, you know. And you know, the thing is that the job is one day in the office, and I have to take that opportunity as a learning process for me and how to know what is the corporate environment. And it has been a very nice journey so far. And in very open-minded that I am, I have expanded my knowledge in MySQL. This is not MS SQL that I'm doing, you know, and I basically connected with everybody in the community. Anybody that can help me, I have reached out to know what it is into MySQL, and I have been very successful. I have a congratulation from work that I'm doing good. So I would say thank you for the basic and all the advice that Caritek actually have put into us, and thank you so much for everything. Yes.
And guys, a few months into the job, she already received a lot of accolades from the boss, telling her she's doing very well. And that is why we always tell you, do not underestimate the knowledge you gain in these 6 months. Do not underestimate it. It is very, very unlikely to go through this training and get a job and you lose it because of the technical skills. It may be due to something different, but not the technical skill, because we know what we train you, and we believe that if you really pay attention throughout, you'll do very well. I see the way she flows. Do you even think that she's French speaking? You know, and I'm so happy for you. And this goes back to the trainees or to anybody who's watching this video that is French speaking, that believes that French might be a barrier to overcoming it, to becoming successful. The answer is completely no. By just by taking the challenge, I will tell you that we not only teach you SQL, we also help you improve on your language skills. Did that work for you, Luis? Right? You also improve on your language skills.
Absolutely. The interview, the upper my offer letters actually were, it was life-changing, you know, being scared of taking interviews, you know, being there answering questions and, you know, being corrected, being open to accept criticism and trying to change whatever actually you cannot say in the right language. I mean, that was a life-changing, like I say, being into this program before, I was looking for a community, with a lot of mentors, people that can support you, understand you, and be there for you. I will not thank you enough, Mama Nelly, for bringing me into this, because yes, it has been a life-changing. Yes, Doc.
Thank you so much, Louise, for that powerful testimony. That your story as, being a mother, giving birth and struggling with all that classes and language barrier and all that, but you are still able to beat all the odds and succeed. So thank you so much for that. All right, now bringing in another person, very, very dedicated. At the point, I even felt that he was no longer looking for a job until he called me one day and said, you know what, I got that offer. I said, whoa, wow, you shocked me. There's no other person than Eddie. Eddie, so let me see, can you turn on your video? So let me bring you back on the spotlight. Looks like you got disconnected. All right, there you go. Okay. Yes.
Hello, yes,
Eddie.
doctor.
Eddie, which batch were you in?
I don't even remember because I think I started on batch 9 or 7. I don't
Yeah,
really
so I
remember.
think Eddie, if I go back with the people that were with you, you were with Akum and
Yeah.
Mata in the same batch, right?
Yeah, Mama Nelly. Yeah.
Mama Nelly, okay, so that's 7. That's batch 7.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, before some of you in batch 12 begin to say, I'm giving up, you have to talk to Eddie by 7. So we will have by 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, right? He's still looking for that job and he got it. All right.
Yeah. My story is kind of different than everybody. But I went through the class in, I think I started in 2019 or 20. Don't really, yes. As soon as I done with the program, I started applying. I got a lot of rejection. I did a lot of interview. I felt just discouraged and I stopped applying. I say, I was really. I'm a French speaker, so I was like, maybe it was because I'm not talking good English. I'm not really fluent like those people. But I realized that it's not that case. It's not the case. When you surround yourself with people in the field, you start having hopes, and then I surround myself with all the guys, with the mentor. I always talk to Dr. Dennis, and even like a year after I done the program, I attend the refreshing class to get some new tricks to update my resume. And then on May this year, I stayed, okay, I will go again and try the market. I start applying, applying a lot, change my resume. I'll get a lot of rejection, but at that point I was like, I don't care. I will just go get this job. I don't care about what they say. I need to have the plan for me was like I need to go in all the interview with my own story, my project I done. I don't want to let them drill me down. So I want to talk about what I know, and that's how I get the job. And one day I get the interview. They start asking me, tell me about yourself. I tell all I did, all the project you be doing, all the preparation class, and it was enough for them. And they just send me the offer letter. One day they just call me and say, hey Eddie, we have the offer letter. I said, what? I didn't really realize they gave me the job. I said, you don't feel excited? I said, oh, you give me the job? They say, yes. I think, okay, great. And so far I'm working is like always 3 months, 2 months in the job. And it's really interesting. I love it. It's changed my life. I have more time now. But a lot of meetings, I didn't prepare for that. It's a lot of meetings. So my journey is don't give up, guys. If you want to change your life, don't give up. It doesn't matter time it takes. you get that job. They have so many jobs online. Don't feel discouraged. I think I take a lot of time because I stopped applying. I stopped applying like for a year, but I come back. As soon as you surround yourself with people who did this, you can get that job. Don't isolate yourself. Don't stay on your room and say, oh, it is difficult. No, trying to talk to people, and people are getting a lot of jobs. I talk to people, they have 2-3 jobs, they make a lot of money. I say, why not me? So yes, so that's why I come back and I get that. And thank you for Dr. Dennis. He's always encouraged me. Don't be afraid. He always change my resume. And that's the thing. That's my advice for the new trainee. Go get it, be on class, and don't give up. Don't give up.
I love that part, Eddie. Do not give up, right? We always say there's some people in this class that do one interview and they get a job. Some apply for one position, one interview, and they get a job. But some people have to apply for hundreds of jobs, get hundreds of interviews before they ever get that job. That doesn't mean that they're not smart. No, everybody has their own journey. You can't compare yourself with someone else. Just do your best and don't give up. Right? So, Eddie, I know it must have been very challenging for you. But I'm so happy that you realize that it's better to surround yourself with the right people. I'm always saying, if I'm in a community and all my friends are doing well and they did the same thing, I would obviously want to find out what am I doing differently that I'm not that they're doing and that is making me not successful. What advice will you give people that are in the training right now and are at the point of trying to give up? What advice will you give them apart from not giving up? What can they do else?
Keep applying. If you're already done with the trainee, apply and record your interview. When you record your interview, you can realize what you did wrong and have a mentor. Me, I start with one mentor, Dr. Dennis, give it to me, but also a classmate like Akum. He's always encouraged me, okay, if you fail, come with me, let's do again, let's try, let's do yes, that's the most important thing, I think, help me to get the job, When I start recording myself, talk to Akum, he give me some tricks before the interview and after the interview. So, so how I get the job. So my advice is that surround, also, when I start playing soccer with all those guys has a job, I realized, man, it's not about you need to be the smartest people. You need to be in that environment who people give you some tricks and don't stop applying. Apply. Because when they realize you know what you're talking about a little bit, they always want to train you. Sometimes they just get you to train you from scratch, and that's my advice.
Exactly. Because a lot of companies out there really know that whatever knowledge you are bringing in, we're going to train you. Because we have our different ways of doing our stuff. We do this way, or this way. We just want somebody who can come in here who's trainable. And when they're able to identify that within the interview that this person can be trained, they're going to get you. Right? So don't feel like you have to be the super smart guy out there who knows it all before you go ahead and get the job. No. Apply, and apply. Even when it's not working, apply.
Apply,
That's the only way out. Right?
Yeah.
That's the only way out that you're going to get it. So Eddie, if you were given an opportunity to do it again, will you do it?
Yeah, sure. I will do it 100%. And the sooner is better.
Very good.
Because when you get a big check, your life changes. And that is already another thing. So yeah, the sooner is the better, and I will do 100% the same thing with the same people.
Nice. Having gone through Here We Take and having seen its training curriculum and way everything is structured, will you recommend anyone listening to us here to take the similar training like you did?
Yeah, sure. Everybody. I already sent you a lot of people, doctor, because
I know
even from me, yeah, I recommend this course 100% because you can start from scratch, knowing in anything and be an expert. I learned a lot of things. So even now, when they start creating VMs, I already know. We did this. We did a lot of things that at that time I was like, why it takes so long? Why is 6 months, 9 months, and online we see some courses 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and now I realized why we did all of that, because I'm ahead of everything, and yeah, I recommend this course a lot of people already, and guys, you're on the good track, you're on the good place.
Thank you so much, Eddie. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, so now moving on to Ghislaine. Your own story. I was speechless. You know, you went through SQL Server training. I remember you calling me and wanted to do Azure, and that was by that time you were still in Cameroon, and I advised you to do SQL Server because I believe that you needed a basic skill before you can jump into Azure. You went through the SQL Server training, started Azure, and 1 month into the Azure class, you are there with an Azure position. You are very, your courage is off the roof. Tell me about your own story.
I want to start by thanking everyone here today for giving me this opportunity to be with you people. I'm happy to say I'm a product of Caritech, or should I say a seed which has been nurtured by Caritech to what I am today. As far as my IT journey is concerned, it was like since in 2021, after I had my baby, I've not actually been working. So my husband just got up one day and told me that, okay, I've enrolled you with in a 1-month program with an Indian for an Azure class. I was like, but what is even Azure? I don't know what Azure is all about. I said, okay, I'm going to take the training. To be honest with you, throughout that training, I was actually lost. If I watched those videos today, I didn't even know what was an IP address, what was network latency. Like, I was just like, okay, let me just attend. After the training, I told him, like, to be honest with you, I've gone through this 1-month training, but I will not tell you that I understand anything. After a while now, he sent me a flyer of Caritech, like, okay, contact this school. I think they said they are doing like a formal training in Azure. That was when I contacted Dr. Kiari, and I told him, okay, I want to take a formal training in Azure. He asked me what was my IT background. Do I have any IT background? I said no. He actually advised me that I would prefer you start with database administration, which to now I really appreciate, and I want to thank you today for giving me that advice. That was when I started my journey with Caritech. And to be honest with you, it wasn't really easy given the fact that I started taking this training in Cameroon. When you want to check network, power failure, like first morning this program, I actually downloaded and watched just the recordings. So I told my husband, like, I don't think I can continue this. It's just like I'm watching YouTube videos. He was like, but do you understand when you download and you watch it? Because each time I try to join, the network kept taking me out. It's always like I have to just download and then I follow up with the class. He was like, but do you understand? I said, yes. At that point, I had to move from Bamenda to Boya because my sister is like, the network this way might be better. I went there, it was a little bit better for a while, but sometimes you see me, I'm carrying my laptop from the kitchen to the bedroom to the kitchen. I'm like, oh, the network is better here. So I must say it wasn't really easy. Why am I saying this? Not even considering Caritech, like in life, we always know that life is full of challenges, be it in everything you're doing. Even if you don't want to put like, okay, it was my training in Caritech, you should not give up. You shouldn't give up. When you want to do something, you should be determined. You put in that effort because there's nothing. If you see a success story, there's no success story without like struggles or maybe like things that try to discourage people not to do that thing. But once you tell yourself that, okay, this is what I want to do, you should be ready for those challenges. And then as far as the training is concerned, everyone that is here, I don't know if we have people here who are still planning to take this training. I want to tell you that once you're going for this training, you should have that determination and focus. Tell yourself that no matter the challenges, I'm ready for it. I want to take it. When it comes to classes, make sure you attend every class. Most of these classes are like 3 hours. It is very difficult, like when you miss this class and you want to come and start watching them again. It is better when you attend the class. The second time you can put it, like someone like me, I have a son, I'm a wife, I have a lot of work. When I always make sure that I pay attention, I always make sure that I attend my classes. In the morning, if I'm doing my dishes, I'm cooking, I will just play the video and then I just listen to the recordings and I'm like, okay, I already attended the class, so I know that this is what was happening. This is just how I keep myself going, like to keep myself, to prepare myself for the next class. And when it comes to our projects, I want to encourage everyone to always like take part. Don't like, oh, and put yourself behind there. Always try to communicate with your team members and even your classmates. You don't only need to communicate with your team members. Go reach out there. In this training, yes, definitely in class, you will see people that are very smart and good and really good. You feel like this person, I can learn from this person. Reach out to them. You don't have to depend on your team members. And I want to also take this opportunity to appreciate my team members, even the ones that since I moved here in the US, like Grace, Larry, Harun, that have been of great help. That things that I wouldn't have been able to like know them on my own. But when you come into this group, you see they come out with different ideas. You're like, wow, is this what you came up with? That's how it actually increases your knowledge. And I also want to commend Grace for her team. I can see she is a leader. If I've never told her, I really appreciate you for, she knows how to pull people together. Even if the group is silent, she is always there to like, wow. Yeah, she always like she always has this way to make people, to make people to come together to work. Yeah, I want to commend her for that. And then for the project, make sure you take part, you participate in it. It is just like when you go out there for your interviews, you want to like, okay, how many how many members were in your team? That is where you build your talking point. When you learn to work with these team members, that's what is going to prepare you for your interview. So never you like underestimate the power of your team. Always make sure you take part of this presentation. And when it comes to this presentation, don't just be at the back end. Always make sure you participate. The more you come, like you are able to talk in front of your classmate, is going to also help you during your interviews. You won't shy away and just be like, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And then for my interview journey, actually, when we were done with this training, when they started applying, I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, I don't have US experience, especially when doctor was like, okay, the companies you've worked with. I told my husband, I don't have any US experience. What am I going to put on my resume? He said, anyway, but he said, those of you who don't have, contact him. Even when I contact doc, even when others were applying, I was just there. When we attend these preparatory classes, like Chanceline, she comes with her job description. She keeps talking with Grand Milo, and like, wow, so people are already getting calls. But then I like, okay, I'm going to contact Dr. Ennis. That's when I contacted him. He gave me he actually walked me through to build a resume for me. That was when I started applying. For some reason, at that point, my husband and his friends were like, okay, put your Azure, put DBA/Azure. At least now, because after the training, that was when I got to even understand those classes in Azure. Because I want to I also use this opportunity to tell everyone that don't feel like because you don't have an IT background, you have a limitation or you can't do this training. Because Caritech does not just take you to the classroom and start telling you about databases. They actually give you a training from like what is a computer, what is software, what is hardware. They actually give you that basic training before they actually take you into the program, which was something that also helped me. And then you also don't, after your classes, you can also go on YouTube to watch a lot of videos. Even there's something that you don't understand, you go and watch videos 2-3 times just to have an understanding of it. So when I started applying, for some reason, most of the invitations for interview that were coming to my inbox was for Azure. I asked like, but what is this? My job description is like on database administration. So one of these jobs, I actually look at the job description. It was in line with database administration, though it was now in an Azure environment. So I took this time now to apply for this job. I was scheduled for an interview. So before, like 2 days to this interview, I told my husband that, do you really think it's necessary for me to attend an Azure interview? I'm actually taking a formal training now in Azure. I think for me to go for this kind of interview, I need to be done with my Azure training. He was like, no, you can do it. Contact Dr. Dennis. I said, no, there's no need. He's preparing people for DBA. How will I even be telling him? Some of those my videos, I just had to go through them and I watched it. During the interview, they asked me to tell them about myself. I talk about myself like a database administrator and what I've done so far, which was actually in line with that job description, but in an on-premise perspective. So during my introduction, everything security, I just expatiate on everything. Security aspect, I will tell them everything I have to do with security, login, high availability, maintenance. I was just giving the problems and the solution and everything. So after talking, the guy was like really impressed. He's like, I really like you. I like the way you tell me what you've done and then why you do it. And maybe the problems you might face with this and how you bring in solutions to solve them. I really like you. That was just how the interview went. They told me they're like, I think this is the last person who will be interviewing for this position. We've interviewed a couple of people, but I think you're actually the best. So
Wow.
that was how the interview went. Yeah, they actually told me that. So I was so happy. After the interview, I told my husband, wow, I got this one. I was kind of relaxed, like these people will get back to me maybe in 2 or 3 days time. They didn't get back to me. 1 week passed, no, they didn't get back to me. I told my husband, like, Dr. Kiawi and Graham Milo said, don't be moved by what people tell you in an interview. He said, yes, that's true. Sometimes they can sweet talk you and you feel like this job is actually for you. Meanwhile, they will not even get back to you. That was when I started, okay, let me start applying. After like 2 weeks, they told me that they're going to schedule me again for a second interview. During that second interview, they were just like asking me about, just like, well, it wasn't technical again. They were just like, oh, they want to know me more, yeah, and what I can do, blah, blah, blah. I actually told them I'm taking a formal training in Azure, which I'm going to be done. And then that was it. After that, again, I was still like, I'm not sure these people are going to get back to me. So the 1st of December, I received that offer letter. I was so excited. I was so happy. I'm like, oh, let me call Dr. Dennis and tell him. When I called a few people. When I tried to call Dr. Dennis, I think it wasn't online. I spoke with a few people like Sir, what's his name again? Yeah, I think Search. No, not
yes.
Search 20.
Yes.
Yes. Then after I called doctor like, okay, after your background check, then before I'm going to announce you in the group. So you don't know what that statement made to me. It actually killed my spirit again. I went and asked my husband, is there something again like background check? He said, yes. They actually give you an offer, and after background check, they'll not give you. I said, so why then did you allow me to announce it to him? I shouldn't have even mentioned this to him. Why? Why did I have to do this? I was just like, I'm not happy again. Please, I'm going to keep applying for my jobs. I'm not going to count on these people until, I don't know. I think after 2 days again, now they sent another mail to me that I'm going to start working on the 5th. That was Monday. That was when I was like, wow. I was just lucky. I don't know. I can say I'm just lucky because this is actually my first and only interview so far.
So, this is nice. So you've been working for 1 week now.
Wow. Congratulations.
So now let me ask you this question. What will you say to the people who say someone cannot just move to the US and in less than no time you're making such figures? What will you tell them? Because
I want to tell them that
everyone.
There's no limitation like that. Everything is possible. Just like I said, when you're determined and you work hard just to make yourself the best, I don't think there will be any limitation for you. And I also want to just take this opportunity to thank all my instructors, Mr. Zebs, Dr. Ernest, for the late nights that they stayed with us, even after our classes, just to make sure that if there was anyone that did not understand the concept during the class, they want to make sure that before you're going to bed, you understand. I also want to thank Serge and Emma that have helped us even through this capstone training with the tips that they gave us. It actually helped to boost our confidence. I want to thank you, Dr. Dennis, Zelda. In fact, I don't know. I want to thank all of you. It's been like something, I don't know. I don't know how to appreciate you guys, but I will proudly stand anywhere and say I'm a product of Cavitech. And I want everyone here to go and spread this news, not only to your friends, to your family. There might be people out there who feel like, I don't have this IT background. Tell them that with Cavitech, they will start you from the basics and make you to the guru that you are. Thank you.
And when the offer letter came, were you happy? Were you satisfied?
I was happy, sir. That is why I said when I called, but that statement you said background check, it killed the spirit again.
Okay. This is great story. I'm so happy for you, Ghislaine. I'm super happy. I'm so happy that at least you listened to the advice back then and you still ended up getting a job for what you wanted to do at the beginning. I'm quite sure if you had just gone in straight to Azure back then, the challenges would have been enormous, considering the fact that back then you were still in Cameroon with a lot of network issues. And so I'm happy that it worked out well for you and anyone else listening today will testify. I mean, you started a training and the only way you could do was to download videos and watch them because of the challenges, but you did not give up. Some people have said, oh, you know what, I'm planning to move. I'm just going to stop this. When I move to the US, I will then start the training, but you did not, and just by virtue of doing this, you are 20 years ahead of most people that are in this country. Simple, right? You will never, you need to ask someone that's been living in this country for 20 years and they will tell their own story and you will know why I made that statement. So thank you so much, Ghislaine. So Walters, your madam is at home. I would like to say one word. Before I move on to Zeps, let me hear from her.
Yeah, so my madam listened to 1 or 2 of my interviews. Okay. And she heard how shaky I was and how challenging it was, and she thought it was undoable. So she's in the transition.
Okay.
Wow. Support system.
Okay.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Listen, I think this community is so good. I think it is so good, honestly, because I saw him do the training, right? And I was like, okay, let's see if he can manage this. Then he quits his job to focus on it 100%, right? And I hear the first interview and he's like, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was shaking. The next interview, my name? Yes, my name is, I was like, oh. And then, but I have to say, with the community and his dedication, like every night he was in another group, he was talking to other people, like it was really a dedication. But I just have to congratulate him and the community, because over time, after a few weeks, I heard him, after a few months, let's say, I heard him like joking with people, and I was like, okay, he's getting this. Like he was having a conversation, he was cracking jokes with people, and I was like, okay, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do this. And then finally, until the next step was like the technical interviews. So we would see him get a few interviews, then more, and then more, and then the technical one started, and he was so nervous. But like this community really saw him through, and with his dedication and your support of this community, I just have to say, this program is so nice. And I really congratulate all of you, because I know what it's like coming into a country where you maybe weren't born here, and to fight for a professional job like you guys are fighting. It is really difficult, and I just want to congratulate you and him. So congratulations, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was amazing.
Hold on. Bring her back. What does he have?
The great support system.
Yes, we wanted to say thank you as well for the great support system, because if he did not have the right support at home, he will not be able to go through. No matter how much we encourage, it will not work. So with this, we want to say thank you as well for supporting me. And I'm so happy it worked out well for him. And let's keep doing what we're doing, uplifting each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Right.
Congratulations
Bye.
again.
Okay. All right. So
They stop laughing at me.
this is so good, Walter. This is really, really good. I mean, you could say it, but hearing it from your wife, actually experiencing how you transition from to joking and then to becoming a whole professional. I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you. So now moving on, we're running out of time, but we cannot end this without talking to Zeps, an instructor. Most of you were like, what is Zeps doing here on by the way? But you, like we always say at Care We Take, right? We don't only teach you guys theory, we teach you the practical work that we do. Zeps has been in the field and got more promotions, got into the Azure and become a data architect and so on. We say when you start, you always have to keep moving on. And today, we're celebrating his success, we're celebrating his promotion, and we're also putting on the spotlight to tell us a little bit, coming from Germany, where most people might think like, okay, well, this is Germany, these jobs are really not for this certain set of people, but you were able to break all the odds, and you are here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe about how was the process for people that are in Germany or in other parts of Europe and listening to you and wondering if it's even possible.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. And I know so many people are willing to hear what an instructor is here to say. So I got a lot of messages. People are saying that when is your testimonial day? I need to hear from you. So I told them, don't worry, it is coming. So I will definitely come and I'll have to speak. And people, what I'm here to tell people is that what the mind of a man thinketh, so shall it come to pass. So why I'm saying this is because I went to technical education. I left technical education and I started doing sciences in high school. And so skipping from technical education, going to in high school doing S1 physics, mathematics, chemistry. And I went to the university and I decided to study physics. And one day I just got out, I said, I want to do business administration. So I just stopped and I went into business administration. I've never done anything in economics or nothing. I said, but it is doable. And I went there, that's how I got a bachelor's degree in business administration. So I went to get a master's in business administration as well. So, and when I started working as a consultant, so doctor talked about this IT, and I said my experience in the IT field when I came to Germany was not a good one. This IT thing, it is very discouraging. I understand when I came to the university to do physics, I had informatics, a subject which is informatics, and I were programming in C++, and I was struggling to program with an empty computer. So when I went to, after the first lecture, I went to the professor and I explained my worry. She asked me some few things, and I tried to answer. And she said, my level is not primary school, it is below nursery school. Since that day, I got so fed up. So I realized that this thing is not even possible. This thing is magic. So I was in the class, they would just be saying it's equal to 1 minus this. It's like, what is this thing? So that since that day, I started getting a little bit skeptical about anything IT. So when I went into business administration, I had to do SAP and data warehousing. So I said, informatics again, me in this thing. So I'm not going to escape this thing again. So when I went in there, the first course, my friends were in Germany, they have grown up here, they don't know everything. The whole semester, I did not understand anything. So I said, this thing, I'm going to take this thing It's personal assignment. So this is what happened. So one day we went to do this ski in the hill. So I realized that in Cameroon, we used to slide like this. I say, I can do it. And there's a cliff. If you fall there, you are going to die. So I realized my feet were always pulling to that place. So I came back the whole day. I did not succeed. I went to YouTube and was watching this thing for beginners, how to do this. And they showed me the next morning. I went and I followed the same instruction. I saw myself doing the same thing. And they were like, yesterday, this guy was falling here. Were you pretending or you knew it? I said, that means that video I watched in the hotel in the night helped me. This is what helped me also to start doing this IT. I said, you have to stay focused, acknowledge that I have a weakness somewhere. How can I create the solution to my problem? That is what. So I was actually one of the first people to start this thing, just going into this. I think Dr. came were like maybe 5 or 3. I was also attending the thing in the morning, at times sleeping. So I attended this thing, and one time I was a little bit tired. I said, no, I will keep on pulling. So when I started, I said to Doctor, I do well in the financial domain. So this thing IT like this, maybe I just do it for fun. Started doing it for fun, and I started getting, just in class, when you do it, when they're doing anything like script writing and you execute and yours is red. Most people that theirs is red with the red. That is, there's an error. They have, if you check their stomach is bubbling like boiling like hot water. Those people who see that executed, they are very happy. That is, I'm very, very happy that I've succeeded. So these are some of the things that one has to go through. So now when I started and I was doing this for fun and it became interesting, Doctor said, but why don't you just train this thing well and also start giving a helping hand? I'm alone. So that is how I got into this. And people, I realized that, okay, people did not know what I was really doing. Even my close friends, and when I started that, let me just even check if this thing is even possible to do it. Doctor asked me one question. Are you sure you study SQL in English? You can explain it in German. I said, why not? I'll do it. So I asked him, the issue is if I cram the SQL, I'm not going to explain it in German. That's the first thing. But if I understand the SQL, there's nothing that I want to say in German I cannot say. So where is the problem? He said, even me that I've studied in German, I think that I cannot even explain this thing in German. No? I told him, I always have very positive mindset. I said, I'm setting up my target in 1 month. In 1 month, I will get a job. So when I started talking about this 1 month of getting a job, I said, normally when you are studying, you know where you're most active. Some people are very active. They study well in the morning. People study well in the afternoon. Some people study well late in the night. And I'm that person that study well late in the night. So in my house, we will be talking when they want to go to bed at maybe 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. That's when I'll start applying. I've always applied as from 12 midnight. That is when I'm very effective. And I put a target that every day, before I go to bed, I'll apply 5 jobs. So when I applied, I got the first job. I was secretly working, and nobody has ever known. So doctor was saying, this thing has gone. There's no way they can even announce this again because it's already old. So I told him, but no, we are not ending here. We aim high. So I'm going to aim high. I'm going to shoot it. So now this year I said, I'm half a target again. Before I said this target, I'm going to set it before December. I'll get a new position. So when I started this, my wife said to me, I know you. When you said a thing like this, you will always succeed. So I talked to one of my friends. He said, oh, you have already gotten something better. I know you. Before you said this, Mr. Something is already on the pipeline. And there was nothing on the pipeline. So I started again. And the first thing is that the first company that I applied, it was like a trial. And I realized that in my LinkedIn, I did not write anything IT, but I wrote only thing on finance. So they called me for the first interview. I went for the first interview and we talked, and I came back and I saw a message, an email. I went to your LinkedIn and I did not say anything IT. I just went and deleted the LinkedIn. I said, I don't need this LinkedIn again. It's giving me stress. I know. So now it was a little bit conflicting because I don't know how am I going to prove to him. Then, and I realized again that the salary I asked him, he shaked. The guy was a little bit like startled. And I looked at him, I asked him, first of all, do you know how much I earn now? That's the question I asked him. Because I realized that he said, I thought I was too high. But I said, but do you know how much I earn now? I cannot go in for any job below that. And he looked at me and I think that he was not really convinced. So when I deleted, I said, no, since it is a conflicting issue now, because I have to prove to him that I know I've been working in IT as well, but here he saw it and there was nothing in IT, and I've never actually, I never updated my profile. So I said, no, there are so many jobs outside. This one, I don't even want it again. So as I said it like that, I said, now let me start afresh. The first company called me and programmed an interview after 4 weeks. I said, but how can you call me and program an interview after 4 weeks? This is too long. So now other interviews started coming in. I mean, in a day I had like 2. I was like, it doesn't mean that this thing is too, so many of these jobs are in Europe. So now I got a lot of jobs, interviews, left and right. Now I went to one job interview for the second job interview, and I told them, if you people cannot answer within the first 1 week, because I have a lot of them I can consider. So I came home and they just replied, yes, we have decided to move on with you. We would like you to come, since it is 100% remote. It will be good if you come and know other DBAs. So now I pushed the interview again. I pushed that to know the other DBAs like 2 weeks ahead because I was seeing better positions coming up. So I went to the next one and they told me, okay, now we have this position, it's a senior position, and we will decide in the coming week. But I told them, okay. I told them, if you are deciding, if I get something better, I can inform you, right? So that you should not really save the time, right? They say yes. The next morning, they got up at 8 o'clock. They were calling. I saw a number calling me like 5 times. So so you know, in the mornings at time when we are preparing kids for school, I don't run when my phone is ringing. I just keep it aside. So when I finish now, I came. I said I will call the person later. So when I come, I just saw an email. The guy said, "Please call me back. We have decided to move on with you." I said, "This time, yes." At this time, the amount of money I asked them, I was like, I asked them the amount of money they have added 10,000 euros to it. This is strange. So I was like, well, this is now for the other first one, it was a difference of 15,000 euros. I was like, only a stupid person can go back to that one. So now I came there, I said I have mixed feelings because this guy was too good to me. So another guy also called, another one wrote to me again. I said, no, please, we have decided to move on with you. Want to come, since it is also 100% remote, it will be fine. You meet the other DBAs which you'll be working with. So now that is when the real problem starts. Mixed feelings. I don't know where to choose now. So many good ones. So I said, now this has not got to do, this has nothing to do with feelings now. I have to put business in front. I said now I have to take a good decision. I know the problems that Zelda has gone through with choosing with so many jobs in the table. Now at this time I was having 5 offers. So I started also screening. One of my friends told me the best thing is when you are also refusing recruiters, jobs, turning down, then down. You know how when they're sending that email that that we are sorry. This is the first time that you should be doing. So I wrote the first email. I told them, sorry, I've taken a different position. I'll no longer be coming to know the other DBAs. The guy did not even reply. And I told my wife, the guy is getting angry, huh? So So I started replying left, right. And so at the end, I had two that was contemplating. The doctor told me, please, don't waste time with this thing. Close these people down and let's move on and let's announce you. I told him, you know, in Europe, it's not like in the US where there's no background check. When you sign a job, when you have signed it, there's nothing like you are going to know that it is already okay. And they also have in their thing that when you sign, you cannot just quit. You cannot, because they know that people sign and they get that and they run away. And they have a clause that if you sign. So I told him that I have to take a very good decision because if I sign now, I've already signed it. So this is I finally just say, okay, this one is good. I like it. So this is a remote job. But since I've been working my life, I've always been working remote. I know what it means to sit in one place and you're not going out. I need a job where I can once a time move out of house. I mean, still like my wife is working remote, I'm working remote. Every time we are conversing, I need to at times once in a while I leave the house. If you're married, you know, you're two, you always see one another. You people can even quarrel for nothing. Just because you've had a bad day at work and you need somebody to pour your anger on, and you just tell and point it to your partner. So I said, no, this one, once in a while I have to move out. I said, this is the best. So that at one time I can also leave the house and go somewhere else before I come back. That was my decision. So, and I'm happy here to share my experience and also give encouragement to people, because when people were talking, I was writing a lot of things down. And the things I was writing because of the questions that I've been receiving to people for other trainees recently, and I've been sharing one-on-one with them and try to talk. And when I hear your testimonials today, it is a motivation to those people who are listening. I know I've seen some of them here, and that's why I'm very happy. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank
nice.
you, Doctor. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you so much, Zeps. Growing up with you, you know, Zeps is actually my elder brother, for those who don't know. So I'm direct follower to him. And so we grew up together, and I know how dedicated he is. And something like this, if you say it is good, you have to make sure the whole family is there. Why not? And I know how difficult it was to get him in back then, but once he finally realized how good this thing was, I'm sure those of you who have seen him in class will tell you how dedicated he is in all these things. And we're so happy that it worked out just beautifully the way you planned it. And I'm always say I always trust your judgment, because most of the time you say things, it always works that way. So congratulations. Now, but let me move back to all of you here, right? You guys know how expensive this flyer, the flyer that I put out there, that's $1 million flyer. When we say, can we put at least $10 million in US economy every year, people say, that guy is just bluffing, right? If you were to go back, January, this is December, we're running up the year, and start counting from January 2022 to December, the DBAs that will train and place in the job market, and just put them at average salary of $50,000. Let's put 50,000. And do the math. And then you know how much we've injected in the world economy, because our DBAs are not just in the US, right? So this is real impact for you that is part of this community, that is helping other people succeed. It's a great impact, and you should not underestimate that. Can we at least put our hands together for ourselves, please? Come on, let's put our hands together for ourselves. This is really good, and I pray that as you go transition from being a trainee to becoming a mentor, that you are going to see the vision and uplift that spirit, that community spirit that reigns within us, to be one another's keeper and also support one another so that we all succeed. We all have jobs. I mean, the job that you got today, there's no way I will ever be in that position. I don't even need it. So why don't you help someone else get the other jobs out there that are sitting there? Every single year, US statistics show that there are a lot of unfilled positions that go throughout the year just because there's not enough skills, or because the people are not informed about it. Most of you that are here, where probably someone brought you in because that person informed you. So be our ambassador. Go out there and inform somebody. Now I'm going to give each one of you just 30 seconds to 1 minute maximum. Shouldn't go above 1 minute. We're going to be out here in a few minutes, guys. Just give us a few more minutes. We're wrapping up. Just tell me what Carewitech has done for your life. Just in less than 1 minute. Just give me summarize that in less than 1 minute, and then we'll move on. Let me start with you, Shaslin.
Okay, thank you for coming back to me again. Honestly, doctor, I don't think you really understand the impact you're creating out here. I've been in this country. February is going to make me 5 years in this country, and just getting this offer, I wish it happened the first year that I came. That's why, Ghislaine, you are fortunate. You are lucky that you had this, like you had the knowledge while you were still in Cameroon. And as doctor said, you're more like what you just got now is way more than what people who have been in this country for over 20 years have actually acquired. So this has been a life-changing moment, like the income, everything about it, just sitting at your home and working, knowing that you're making money. It's something that thank you will never be enough. So thank you so much. You're changing lives. You've changed my life. And I am talking about you, my friends. I'm informing them, like when I got the offer, like I'm bold enough to tell them about what I've done and the offer that I like, what I get, just to encourage someone to be able to join the next batch. So this is really amazing, and you're really changing lives. And thank you for the entire community, all the teachers, my subgroup members. I just want to say thank you. And I just want to encourage each and every one of you to keep applying, because no matter how smart you are, if you don't apply, you're not going to get an interview. And if you don't get an interview, you won't be able to even talk about what you know. So the goal is to keep applying. I know it's really discouraging when you get that, sorry, we've decided to move on with another person. It's really discouraging, but you just have to keep applying. The job is going to eventually come. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shaslin. The sky is your stepping stone. And
thank you.
Let me go with you. Same question. I'm asking the same question to all of you.
Wow. I don't know. There are no words that can just say exactly what you've done for us. And it's not just to us as an individual, because it's not just my life that has changed. It is my life, my family, anyone around me, their lives have changed. And it's not just my life. Those people that I'm telling, hey, join, their lives will be changed. It's a ripple effect. I'm from Kenya, and I'm telling people from Kenya, join. So the ripple effect is here in US, it's in Kenya, it's all over. So thank you. Thank you. And for my team, for my fellow students, all batches, keep applying. When it's your turn, it's your turn. It's just, when you get to your job, it will just be easy and you will enjoy it. And we are waiting for you on the other side. And we are proud of you. And doctor, thank you. Carewitech, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The program, the structure, I'll still keep saying the structure. The whole structure you have, it works.
Thank you so much, Anne. Appreciate you. Appreciate the kind word. Yes, Walter.
Oh, sorry. I think in one word, Carewitech has put a smile on my face. Yeah, man, it's a big transition, you know, to move from a hustler into the corporate world. That's a huge transition. You know, I used to be like a t-shirt guy. I wear a t-shirt, you know, dress simple, with beers, and not really care, you know, how I look. But weekdays now I look like Doctor and Zebedee, you know, wear a suit and look good, you know. So it's yeah, it's day or night. It's a great transition. I'm happy and thankful and grateful.
Thank you, Walters.
Yes,
Luis?
Thank you so much, Doug. What I'm gonna say is that from my personal experience and what I'm doing today, I say thank you to you for the vision. And you, like you always say, we are the next India. We want to get there. I'm grabbing the knowledge from MySQL from different angles as much as I can, because I know it's going to help the community. I know it's going to be I believe we are the next Indian. Cavitech has made me believe I was just thinking this is a scam. This is not possible that this can happen to somebody, that, you can move from running between hours, you say clocking in, clocking out, to being in the corporate world like nobody care about what you're doing, is something, it's a life changing. And I say thank you for the whole community and everybody here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maurice. Ageno.
Yes, Doc, thanks for this opportunity. I just want to say, Cavitech made me from a Thomas into a believer. I think most of us can attest to that. So the structure of the school is like, I think all the other my fellow colleagues have mentioned that. The way the things that have been taught in Cavitech, they can attest to that, is the same things that we are doing at our job. Like service now, I do ticketing system. So the same things about ticketing system, problem ticket, there's the same things that I'm doing right now. So I can attest that what we are doing in school, be it migration, logins, whatever that they're doing in school, if you're a trainee listening to me now, 100% when you go to your environment, that is the same thing that you are going to be doing. So Cavitech has, apart from the fact that it changed my life financially, I can attest that it also gave me a new family, right? Because I've bonded with some of my co-workers, my co-trainees. We are more than a family. So we share together, we share their pain, we share whatever's going on in their life. So I think it's just bigger than Cavitech. It's just bigger than just being here. So he has really given me a part of finance. It's also given me a family. So I want to thank Doc for putting that structure, making that possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ageno. This is really great. Yes, Ghislaine.
I want to say that Cavitech has actually been a turning point in my life. We know that we all go to school, university to acquire any kind of education, but Cavitech just prepares you technically. It just prepares you for the job market, like how you're supposed to face those challenges out there, how you're supposed to, like, I don't know, if any situation comes before you and how you're going to face it. So I would say that has been that that has been that turning point. That's just what Cavitech has impacted in my life. Not just my life, my family, just as my colleague said, is I love what I always say, thank you. I'm happy to be part of this family today and always. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Ghislaine. Azef, what will you top it up? Round it up.
Yes, I will be rounding up in a very very good way, because when I look at what, let me just start with Chanceline, being a pregnant woman and pulling this. We have presently trainees who are also in her situation now, and that her message is a very, very motivating message to those who are also pulling on with this training presently who are also pregnant. She did it, it means you can do it. And you know, a veteran, which people may think that you will give up. I've heard people congratulating you here for how you are pulling them. I want to thank you personally for such a wonderful dedication that you gave to Cavitech community. We cannot do it alone. We can only do it with people who are dedicated like you. And when I look at you, I look at Heron, who is writing here. I personally met Heron for the first time during the summit. And we have known ourselves for years. And when you speak, I realized that I met a Kenyan lady in a party here in Germany, and she was asking about this training. And that is an opportunity for me to link you people up. You can talk to this lady, and she is very, very interested, and she needs somebody to encourage her, and you will be the best person to do that. So Coming back to Walters, you don't know what you are doing to me personally. I have my in-law. When you were talking, I said my in-law needs to hear you out. I have my in-law who is presently doing this training. I told him people do this training under terrible conditions, and his condition is not even 1/100 of what you are going through. So he needs to. He's here. I know he's listening. I am going to call him after this. I ask, did you hear Walter's story today? See, it was to me like an eye-opener. You see that you came and you read my mind and decided to speak. So thank you very much for that motivating. And for somebody to take up that motivation that you took, it is very few people can do that. And I personally want to thank you. Loris, I know I've met you with other people say, I don't speak English. My statement has never been SQL is not a linguistic class. If you want to, SQL is not a linguistic class. If you come here, you're complaining of your language. I studied SQL in English and I defended SQL in German. So SQL is not a linguistic class. So go there, as doctor have said, you will never be dismissed from your job because of lack of skills. It will always be your attitude. Because if your attitude portrays that you should be dismissed, skills can never be part of it. Bear with me. That is something that everybody should take home. And I also, Eddie, who has left, was also the same thing. She's left. I first saw, the question I asked you when you called me for one-on-one, and the first question I said, I'm seeing you for the first time in video. Where are you? I know your worries. I said, Giselle was the only person I met in class who was crying because of network. I know. So I was like, how can I cannot even help, but I can see her frustration because of network. I met her first, I saw her face for the first time when she was already in the US. So Ghislaine, you are a motivation, and I want to personally thank your husband, because what she pushed you to do, so many people would have just said, let her do what she wants to do now, I'm afraid. But she did not, she saw that for him to get happiness, you need to be happy. And for all of us, I want to say it is, this is not changing our life. It is changing the life of those who are around us. When you hear people, when people die, some people cry to you, they want to also die. It's not because they are crying, the person has gone. What about my problems now? My problems now. Who is going to help me solve this problem? They are crying their problem, not even the person who has died. So we are a solution to so many people. You cannot help somebody if you don't have it. It is not possible. So just imagine you are asking a blind man, you are blind and asking from a blind person. Two blind people, nobody can show the other person the road. So you cannot help if you don't have. We are a resource. We are a helping hand to other people. We are solving not only our problem, but most the problems of people around us, our community, our families, our friends. So I want to encourage that every one of us spread the news, because I'm spreading the news to the way I can. It is like when you just get me off from night, I'll start talking about SQL. That is what we have to do. So I want to first of all thank Doctor for this good initiative. If you get a good initiative and keep it for yourself, you have not done any good for the community. So bring up this initiative. People, I know when people started this initiative, people are asking a PhD holder from a chemical engineering, what's he going to do in the IT? I said, please, we go to school. That's just prestige. But school doesn't give. If you want to remember it's prestige, go in and hold the drawing board and be standing there. So, Doctor, I also remember you asked me to read one book, which is this Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Rich Dad. So when I started reading it, I said, I have to also tell people to read this and see what they're saying in that book. So please spread the good news. Caritech has come to stay, and we are going to be an ambassador of Caritech to our families, to our communities, and to those who are around us. Thank you very much, and thank everybody for coming today. It was a great session. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Zach, for that great words. And I'm going to give room for a few comments or questions for people that are watching today. Guys, just bear with me. This normally is 2 hours, but I'm happy. It's listening to all this. That's why I'm extending it a little bit. But I'm just going to give room for 1 or 2 persons to say one word or ask a question, and then we can wrap up. Yes, I'm going to start with Felix, and then I will talk. I'll give Sage the room, and then any other person else. Yes, Felix.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Felix.
Yeah, it has been long. I miss home, but I came to reassure everyone in Kawi Tech that there's hope, okay, and it works, okay. Doc, if you notice, I don't know if you noticed my background. My background has changed.
Okay.
I don't know if you are noticing it. My background has changed.
I'm noticing
yes.
Ah.
Okay. What does this tell you? God has used Kawi Tech, with knowledge I get from Kawi Tech, to move me and my family from tenants to landlords.
Wow.
And this is the beautiful place that God gave to us.
Beautiful.
You see? So the reason why I came out here today, I said, let us know that it works. And not just that God gave us the house, He gave us the house in the heart of New Jersey, where people are running away from. That is a state that is expensive. It can only happen because we gathered the knowledge from Kawi Tech that put us from working hard to working smart. Okay? So what took others long time to acquire, I'm from batch 10. And Doctor know my story, and many other people know my story. I came to Kawi Tech like someone that I've been in the IT industry, but I have been struggling all the while. I've been doing networking, I've been doing other things, but the minute somebody introduced me to Kawi Tech, it was as if God used Doctor to put me on the express lane in the field. This is my third job I'm doing right now. So the jobs were just coming because I followed what was taught in this place, and I followed the principle. I put in effort, and God crowned it with success. So I said today, since I have the opportunity, let me encourage somebody. I've been hearing the stories. I came specifically because of Mr. Waters, but just I think I missed his interview because Mr. Waters was my batch. And we've been studying together one way or the other. We'll be coming across each other. And even in the convention last year, I held his hand and told him that you're going to get a job soon. And Mr. Waters is somebody that always joined the class from a van. It was not convenient for Mr. Waters to do this program, but today is happy. So please, anyone thinking of backing out or thinking of being discouraged, no, it works. There's still job out there. Just follow the principles, keep pushing. And the God of Kawi Tech will show up for you. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yeah, let me leave it here.
Thank you so much, Felix. Thank you for coming back home. We appreciate every single time you have a moment to jump in, please, to come in. I am so happy to see that you are progressing. You are now in a new home. You are a landlord. So you are actually living the American dream that we all talked about, right? Have a home that you call yours in this country. And thanks to your hard work, it didn't just fall from heaven like that. It's thanks to your hard work and for believing in the process. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay. Now let me bring in Sage. You guys have heard about Sage so many times throughout the testimony. Almost everybody talked about Sage. Probably most of you will be wondering, oh, who's this guy, by the way? So Sage, let's see where's him. Sage, are you there?
Okay, yes, I'm there.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. K. I don't want to, I will not be long because we're out of the time. So I just want to say thank you and congratulations on all these 8 people that knew, 8 people that we have to the panel. So I was just having a few story, that is about AG that was just intervened before. I just remember it was last year. I met with AG. We organized a boat ride. The boat ride that was organized by Florence that we all know, and then we met there. And when I got there, Florence's wife just introduced me to AG. I said, oh, this is our new GBA, because that time I just got job. And he said, this is our new GBA. You see, you don't want to do this thing. This is a new guy that just started and that they are having job. And then later on, because Florence and his husband were so motivated, I believe that those two people also motivated me to really go. And later on, I was talking with AJ, and he's telling me, you know, man, you know what? I said, no. He said, I did this thing like 2 years ago. But you know my problem? I said, no. He said, I don't know how to lie. I don't know how I can stay face of somebody, tell him that I have 5 years experience when I know I never even work for one day. That's my problem. So I just tell him, man, you know what? You know, in French, we say, ça passe ou ça casse. It's just mean, you know, you have been making, let us say you are making 15 hours, and then you have to work 20 hours a day. You are working 15 hours an hour, $15 an hour. You have to work maybe 20 hours to make that average life in America. And the only opportunity for you to let this and go to that 6 figure that will change your life is to lie. So there's no choice. It's just like, it's only two cases. Whether you fear God and you stay poor all your life, or you decide to look at that interviewer face to face and lie and get that job and your life change. There's no another choice. So you have to do that if you really want to change your life. And then it's not even lie, because you look at me, I did this program. When I got you, I get 3 offers. I decided to stay with you. I've been doing good with you. That means I don't lie. I really, and even at work, I give that performance that they're expecting from me. So if you can give that, that means you are giving that hope that, you have that skill for that person that have 5 years. We know that there are some people that have 10 years, but they have been doing data refresh for 7 years. So I don't think that it's a matter of number of years, but it's what you know.
Correct.
So so I'm just encourage people that think that it's so difficult. And for you to get that knowledge, to be able to hit that 6 figure, like we just say, you have to come closer to people that being in the field, that know how, that have those tips that you will use, because it's really difficult to stay first day. You don't even know what to say and be telling people, yes, I've been in the field for 7 years, I've done this, I've done that, because you don't know. But yeah, when you come in this interview bootcamp, you hear from others, they will tell you what to say. You work in groups, somebody will say, yeah, myself, I get this, so this is how I use it. That will let you understand it's possible, right? And you can see other people that did it, that use that the same word, and they'll be doing great. So I don't want to be true. I don't want to be so long, but I just want to say congratulations for those that have been there, and encourage others, those that are seen behind that want to follow, to actually follow. And that works, like Felix just said, it works. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sage, and thank you for all the great mentorship that you are providing to all the people here. A lot of people mentioned your name today. Like, I'm so happy that you came in. And of course, like we always say, this is a field that you are hired based on what you know, right? That's why degrees don't matter. Nobody cares whether you have a PhD, you have no degree, nobody cares about it, but people care about what you have. And in this training, within these 6 months, we give you experience worth even 10 years. And that's why people finish this program and they get a job demanding 10 years and they don't fire them. Do you think they don't fire them because the companies cannot fire them? No, it's because they have the skills that a company is looking for. And that's why they're staying in that job. So, and we always tell you, interview is a game. You got to play the game right. When you play it right, you win. If you don't play it right, you lose. So I'm so happy you came in, and I'm glad that it worked out so well for you, and you are also giving back through your mentorship, and we're still spreading the word. All right, thank you. I had Okoro's hand up. I don't know whether your question was answered or not, but if not, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, actually, my question was answered. Good evening, Doctor.
Yes.
My question was answered, but I was so excited to see someone I used to know very well in Lagos, Mr. Felix. I don't know if he's still in the program.
Oh, so, Felix, of course, yes. Felix,
yeah, very good friend, but we lost contact. I don't know if he's still here. Felix, can you still hear me?
All right, but I will link you guys up. I will link you guys up.
Oh, please.
Yes.
That would be awesome, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Yes, okay. See? All right, so before we go, at least we can't leave this forum without giving room for a director of communication to welcome you guys and congratulate you guys and tell you how awesome you guys are making her life easy. So please, Madeline, go ahead.
It's okay. No, you can put it. Okay.
Madeline, can you hear me?
I can hear you right now, Doctor. Hello, everyone.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So yeah, as Doctor has rightly said, I mean, it's an immense pleasure. It's an immense pleasure to have you all here tonight. Of course, we are so happy when things like this happen. I mean, tonight is a great night for Kiaritech, as we all can attest. Eight testimonials in one webinar. This is a first timer for Kiaritech. It has never happened. I mean, we've always broken them down into 2, 3, 4 people, but 8. This is a big testimony for Kiaritech, and that's why we decided to make this or call this a Thanksgiving session. It's really awesome what you guys are doing. You are amazing ambassadors of everything that we do here. And you are an incarnation of what Doctor stands for. You are his dream. Thank you all so much. Those of you in the job market, those of you already working as DBAs, those of you who are in the process of becoming DBAs, we all got you and we appreciate you so, so much. So on a special note this evening, I want to thank all of those who are on the panel tonight: Zebedee, Shanslin, Walters, Gislaine, Luis, and Eddie Ageno. I mean, your sessions, your stories were so enriching that I know anyone who was still a Thomas, like Ageno was, is now a believer. I mean, you can use Ageno's story. If you ever doubted, you can walk through Walter's story. You can listen. I mean, he said something that I wrote down, and I want everyone to take that home today. Set yourself up for success. That's the only way this will work for you, because we can say all of these good things here tonight. And if you don't do your homework, unfortunately, you're going to fail yourself, because Kiaritech will never fail you. You will be the only one to fail yourself. So please take Walter's advice. I mean, Luis was here with Eddie to demonstrate that language is not a barrier. Zebedee told us, I mean, he's breaking borders, doing this in Germany. Others have done it too. Regardless of where you are in the world, this is possible and capable of working for you. So make it work. So it's just a formality, but let me just once again congratulate all of you, our DBAs of tonight. Congratulations, you have done well, and you have done the entire Kiaritech IT Academy and community proud. So now stay connected to the community. If you are yet to join our WhatsApp forum, know that we have a community that keeps you grounded all through your life. So we don't end at training you. We give you access to this community with the most experienced of DBAs to walk you through your professional life. So we'll always be here to guide you and step in whenever you need us. So of course, I mean, if this has not yet happened for any of you, our DBAs of tonight, one of us will be reaching out to you. One of the members of the communication team will reach out to you to assist you with completing your graduation checklist. Once again, congratulations. And now I'll seize this special opportunity to let everyone on the panel know that our next intake is in April. You have heard all of these good stories. You have family members whose lives you want to change. You just don't know how. We are giving you a solution right here. Just tell them, April is your next chance. You can be the next DBA on our panel. How will you make that happen? It's by joining our sessions, and the next ones come up in April. So yeah, you can have access to this flyer if you want. We can provide one to you. Our contact number, our contact details are here. Call us whenever you need us, and then we'll clarify anything that you want clarified about the program, about the possibilities of joining, anything. And just know that from all over the world, whatever your language background is, whatever your professional career or whatever background is, we don't care. We take you from zero to hero at Kiaritech. So be welcome. Remember that date, April 2023. And of course, to everyone who joined us this evening, it's an absolute pleasure. We are so happy that you joined, but we would love to ask you for a teeny tiny favor. And that favor is for you to follow us on social media and of course, share this information with your family and friends. You have our handles here. Follow us on Facebook, Caritech Academy, Google, caritech.com, YouTube, Instagram, and most recently we are on LinkedIn, guys. So I mean, we are going to be able to in the future send you all of this possible job opportunities and all of that. We'll make this really dynamic and we'll make this community we'll tie this community knots together. We're gonna die together, okay? We are a family, like you've heard from most of the people who have talked on the panel, and we do not leave anyone behind. So we walk with you every step of the way. And it's going to be our pleasure in the future to start sending you possible offers on LinkedIn and all of that. So guys, please do us a favor. Follow us on YouTube. We have very interesting videos about innovations in the database world. I mean, the most recent innovations, Doctor is dedicated and committed to uplifting our knowledge on a day-to-day basis. So we have very rich content on YouTube, guys. Check it out, and then learn something new. I mean, it mustn't be something you have studied before. It could be innovation. I mean, SQL Server 2022 was released last month, and then we'll be having all of these updates on our YouTube channel, guys. So please follow. So thank you so much for your kind attention. It was a pleasure. Stay connected to the community. Continue to do what you do. You are our bride. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vandalin. And I want to take this moment to thank everyone for tuning in. We kept you here for 2.5 hours. How amazing that is. And it's Saturday. Well, we went a little bit above time. Apologies for that, but thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who are going into a job market, we say this advice to all of you. Consider these jobs as your extended studies at Caritech, right? And look forward in gaining the skills, because money will always be a side effect of what you know. There is nobody on earth that is an expert in something that is broke. Right? So if you focus on the knowledge, you will gain the money. But if you focus on the money, you will lose the focus. Sorry, you will lose the knowledge, and then you will be your skills will not be needed in event of any downtime or any restriction. So focus on the skills. Make sure that you take your job very seriously. These people believed in you. They gave you an opportunity. So don't let us down. Be our ambassador. Let our core values take you to wherever you are, and be on your best self. Please stay connected. With this, I want to say thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And look forward to seeing you in the next testimonials. We do this once every month, but every Tuesday, we will have our webinar, which is dedicated for technical presentation. So if you learn something new, reach out and we'll give you a chance to present during the Tuesday webinar. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.